The Beatles didn't just break up, they exploded. By 1970, the Fab Four were fragments and the brightest shards were John Lennon and Paul McCartney. Best friends turned bitter rivals. For years, fans clung to the myth of their brotherhood, but Lennon himself would later rip off the Band-Aid. "Paul and I used to be married," he confessed. Divorce is messy. This is the story of how two legends turned their love into war, and why their feud still echoes in every Beatles chord. When 16-year-old John Lennon met 15-year-old Paul McCartney at a Liverpool church fete in 1957, it wasn't kismet, it was a showdown. Lennon's skiffle band, the Quarrymen, were all raw energy and frayed edges. McCartney, with his choir-boy grin and flawless guitar rendition of 20 Flight Rock, threatened that balance. "I thought, who's this prick?" John later joked. But beneath the rivalry was mutual awe. Within weeks, they were writing songs in Paul's living room, forging a partnership as rare as a four-leaf clover. Their early hits, "Love Me Do," "Please Please Me," were less collaborations than competitions. John would lob a sarcastic lyric. Paul would spin it into gold. "He'd take my crap and make it sound like a symphony," Lennon admitted. But Paul's need to polish clashed with John's desire to provoke. Even then, McCartney played the good Beatle to Lennon's rebel, a dynamic that would curdle under fame's spotlight. Beatlemania was a gilded cage. By 1965, John was drowning in the chaos, popping pills and scribbling existential poetry. Paul, meanwhile, thrived. He charmed press conferences, directed photo shoots, and pushed the band toward orchestral pop. Yesterday. Paul loved being a Beatle, Lennon seethed. "I just wanted to burn it down." Their songs told the story. John's Norwegian Wood, 1965, hid an affair in metaphor. Paul's Eleanor Rigby, 1966, painted loneliness with cinematic gloss. The tension peaked during Revolver. Paul's Here, There, and Everywhere was a lullaby. John's Tomorrow Never Knows was a psychedelic death chant. They still shared credits, but the Lennon-McCartney label was now a legal formality, not a creative truth. When Lennon brought Yoko Ono to Abbey Road in 1968, the band saw an intruder. She sat beside John during sessions, whispering ideas as Paul fumed. "It wasn't personal," insisted Lennon. "Yoko freed me from the Beatles' bullshit." But to Paul, her presence symbolized John's exit from their shared universe. The Get Back sessions, 1969, became a microcosm of their decay. Paul, desperate to salvage the band, barked orders like a drill sergeant. John, high and detached, shot back, "I don't give a damn if you quit. I'll just get Yoko's dentist on guitar." Meanwhile, Apple core crumbled. Paul demanded a business manager. John scoffed. "We're artists, not accountants." The Beatles were now a sinking ship with two captains. On April 10th, 1970, Paul dropped his debut solo album and buried the Beatles. Tucked in a sleeve was a faux interview declaring the band over. John felt betrayed. "He killed us for a headline." The press painted Paul as the villain, but Lennon's rage festered. Their solo work became a bloodsport. John's How Do You Sleep? 1971 mocked Paul's Muzak legacy. "The only thing you done was yesterday." Paul retaliated in Too Many People. "You took your lucky break and broke it in two." Even their wives joined the fray. Linda McCartney called John bitter. Yoko branded Paul controlling. The dream was dead. All that remained was the dirt. In 1970, Lennon unloaded to Rolling Stone. "Paul's a dictator. Yesterday? That's his song. I just signed the papers." Fans gasped, but John doubled down. "We carried him for years. He's all melody, no guts." By 1975, the venom faded. Lennon admitted envy of Paul's band on the run's success and even jammed with him in New York. "We were two old lions," Paul recalled. "No claws, just tired." But reconciliation stalled. On December 8th, 1980, a bullet silenced John and any chance of closure. Paul's Quiet War, 1970, present. Grief as a second skin. Paul processed Lennon's death through music. Here Today, 1982, was a raw eulogy. "What about the night we cried? You're the one that had to hide." Yet he never fully shook John's shadow. Even in 2023, fans dissected his lyrics for hidden messages to a ghost. Today, McCartney waxes nostalgic but stays guarded. John was my brother, he'll say, eyes glazing. Pressed about the feud, he deflects, water under the bridge. But in rare moments, truth slips out. I miss him every day, he told the New Yorker in 2021. But Christ, he could be a prick. The Lennon-McCartney rivalry isn't gossip. It's the blueprint for creative combustion. Their clash birthed the White Album's chaos, Abbey Road's elegy, and solo careers steeped in spite and sorrow. We were each other's fuel, Paul admitted. Without the friction, there'd be no fire. In the end, their greatest collaboration was the feud itself, a 20-year opera of love, ego, and regret. As Lennon once snarled, "You can't have light without dark, right?" That's me and Paul, two boys from Liverpool, forever chained to a legacy they built and burned together.